My dear Madeleine, sweet little round daughter with beautiful eyes and constant smile. You were born in New York in the New World, and surely you will be wondering one day where your father came from. You might never speak Czech. You may prefer other parts of this beautiful planet, blue seas, green islands, bustling metropolises. You are free. One day, you will enter Prague, the place I grew up, and in your silent slippers, soft as cat's paws, you will look for the keys. If you find the keys, unlock the mystery of Prague very, very slowly. You might find some of my lost marbles I played with. You will hear the same bells I listened to in my childhood. Prague is a magic place if you take time. By the way, don't be afraid of the old black cats. They might just be hobgoblins in cat's clothing. A wild and turbulent storm took control of my hot air balloon and sent me far off course. When the storm finally calmed, I found myself floating towards the spires of a big city. I did not have time to wonder about the city, as my balloon was rapidly losing air. I was lucky to land unarmed on a deserted square. I quickly got out of the gondola. There was nobody anywhere, but all of a sudden everything around me reminded me of my childhood. Could it be that the storm had taken me back to Prague, where I grew up? Would I still remember the way through the twisting streets to my family house? Our family house. Here it was with all its memories. Is anybody home? There are 3 rusty padlocks on the door. 3 padlocks and I have no keys. I have to get the keys, but there is nobody around. Then out of nowhere comes our black cat. Can it really be my cat after all these years? Somehow I know she wants me to follow her. I follow my cat through the winter streets of my childhood. All those games, sledding on the first snow with the tips of my ears freezing, tea with lemon, our stove in the dark to eyes of fire. The cat waits for me as I wander the empty streets filled with December memories. My sister's birthday, St. Nicholas with his angel and devil, presents for the good children, coal for the bad. Christmas time with carp in the bathtub, family visits, and a magical tree. I follow my cat for a long time. Every house, every window, every cobblestone brings back some memory. The signs on the old buildings tell of the good times and bad. We are heading toward the castle. Before we reach the castle, the cat turns to the library, another place I loved to visit as a child. The door is open, and everything is as it used to be. The library is deserted and quiet. There is a shift in the wall of books ahead of me. The librarian magically emerges from the wall. I have seen him before in some old painting. He moves toward me holding a scroll. Other characters emerge from the rows of books, silently and majestically. The librarian unrolls the scroll. There is a golden key attached to it. He gives it to me.
Centuries ago, a brave knight named Brunsvig set sail with his fellow knights to see the world. They traveled day and night through all kinds of weather. Thunder roared and the wind howled as they moved forward through the storm until their ship crashed against the shore of Jade Island, a place with strange magnetic powers. No one had ever left this island alive. One by one, the knights perished, and just as he was losing hope, Brunsvig noticed a giant bird carrying off the body of a dead horse. So he disguised himself as a horse, and when the giant bird returned, searching for more food for her babies, the bird swooped down and carried the clever knight away from this doomed island. Once inside her nest, however, he quickly jumped out of his disguise and escaped down the tree. The knight ran as fast as he could toward the horizon until he was stopped by the sound of a terrible roar. Brunsvig followed the sound and came upon a fight between a fierce dragon and a bleeding lion. Seeing the lion near defeat, he whipped out his sword, slew the dragon, and then stayed to attend to the lion's wounds. The grateful lion refused to leave his new friend's side and followed the knight wherever he went. Together they fought the powers of evil, conquered the bastion of hate, and triumphed over the three-headed creatures of lies, envy, and greed. One day they came upon the black rock of darkness, which was really a mighty sorcerer with a magic sword. While the lion distracted him, Brunsvig used his shield as a mirror to blind the sorcerer, who dropped the magic sword, which Brunsvig quickly picked up and turned against him. And the sorcerer crumbled into tiny pieces. A spring of water burst forth on the spot where the sorcerer fell, and out of that spring, a radiant princess appeared. Her face became the river Vltava, her dark hair the houses on both sides of the river, and the magic sword became the famous Charles Bridge. The princess became Brunsvig's bride, and until this day, he and his faithful lion stand guard by this beautiful bridge.
When I stumble out of the library, the cat is waiting to lead me on. The city seems different, but still empty. Following the cat, I'm thinking of those childhood summers in the old town. Hide and seek, marbles, and the cool air you could feel coming out of the ancient cellars. Summers in the city. Playing games till late at night, but piano lessons too. Can I hear the sounds of music from the open windows? Slices of fresh baked bread with wrapped tomatoes. The cat is waiting again. I reach the entrance to a garden. Didn't we come here as boys on one of our expeditions? The cat is in the bushes, whipping her tail. Then the plants began to grow and expand, flowers and fruit, shapes and forms. The emperor appears. Everything is deadly silent. The garden has turned into the emperor's court. The emperor himself is opening a scroll with another golden key. He gives it to me.
Many, many years ago, the Jewish community of Prague, called the ghetto, stood as a complex of crowded dwellings, enclosed by a gated wall. Their leader, Rabbi Love, was widely renowned for his great knowledge of secret magic. But even though the rabbi worked hard for his people and prayed for them morning and night, their houses were crumbling, diseases plagued them, and they suffered from gnawing hunger and despair. Every day they grew more hopeless. Finally, the rabbi decided to seek an answer through magic, and so it was that from the tears and the dreams of his people, that he created the golem, a giant artificial man with the power to project a heart's desire. For the cold, he could provide a vision of a stove, and for the hungry, he could provide only the illusion of food. But sadly, he could not actually warm or feed them. One day, the rabbi placed a magic stone inscribed with the sacred name of God on the forehead of the golem. While the stone was in place, the golem had amazing powers, and at the rabbi's command, he could make enough porridge to feed the entire ghetto. The rabbi always removed the stone from the golem's head every Friday by sunset to prevent him from working on the Sabbath. But one Friday he forgot and went to the evening service, leaving the magic stone in place. A hungry boy crept into the Rabbi Love's house and asked the golem to brew more of the delicious porridge. The golem obeyed, but he made so much porridge that it soon began to fill the room. The little boy did not know how to make him stop, and soon the porridge rose to the ceiling, then flowed through the door and out into the streets. The sticky flood moved through the ghetto all the way to the temple where the rabbi was praying. Just in time, Rabbi Love led his flock to the highest ground in the ghetto, the cemetery. Even the hungry boy made it in time. For a long, long time they had enough to eat, but they never again saw the magical golem, who some say drowned in the river of porridge. But others believe he may still be hiding in the attic of the old synagogue of Prague.
I ran to catch up with the cat. The streets seem different again. Now they remind me of autumn winds. The smell of apples, gas lamplighters with their long tapers, the frozen dew. We cross the bridge. Still no one anywhere. Memories of flying kites, disappearing in fog, making little people out of chestnuts, steaming horses pulling the mail carts, getting up in the dark for school. The cat is rushing ahead. We arrive at the town square with its famous clock and with its 27 crosses paved into the sidewalk to commemorate the noblemen executed here a long, long time ago. The door to the clock tower is open. I follow the cat inside. We find ourselves in a strange dome filled with a strange collection of things. Everything is quietly shimmering, motionless, as if frozen in time. Out of the woodwork come strange mythical robots. The leader, a mechanical baron, brings me another scroll. Here is the third golden key. I take it.
Long ago, everyone in Prague knew a genius named Hanush, an inventor who created not only clocks, but time machines, robots, and other fantastic objects. Most wonderful of all was his spectacular clock, commissioned by the city's elders to be placed on the face of the proud town hall which towered over the city's main square. This clock was so ingenious that many thought it was a living thing. It told time, date, and followed the movements of the earth, the planets, the sun, and the moon, and even the signs of the zodiac. And every hour on the hour, as wonderful clockwork figures performed for the gathered crowd, the 12 apostles paraded by on the moving carousel until a rooster appeared, flapped his wings, and crowed. It was without a doubt the most beautiful clock in the world. People came from far away to see what had never been seen before. But as time passed, some of the elders began to ask, what if Master Hanush makes an even better clock for another city? Their fear grew and grew, until one black night a group of masked men crept into Hanush's room and blinded him, leaving him bleeding to die. For a long time, no one knew what went on behind the darkened windows of Master Hanush's house. But late one night, a huge machine with eyes of fire rolled out of his door, rattled loudly across the cobblestones, then disappeared into the clock tower on the square. Everything grew black, and then there was silence. The magnificent clock had stopped. Soon, down from the tower, fierce mechanical eyes beamed over the streets, searching for the men with their dark secret, and for those who had watched this terrible deed with silent indifference.
With 3 golden keys in my hand, the ancient city seems filled with springtime. The old town square clock is suddenly waving goodbye. The face of the clock smiles and wishes me well. I think of when we children used to wait for the march of the apostles, as the clock chimed each hour and the skeleton rang the bell. I follow the determined cat back across the ancient bridge. We seem to sail through the clouds on the river. I remember beautiful springs, the first fresh leaves, Easter eggs, cake in the shape of a lamp, the maypole, and a blue, blue sky. I feel as though many others just like me have passed here before, and many will be walking forever after, in different times, different ages, like time travelers caught in one frozen universal second. And I'm back in the winding streets of my childhood, Streets filled with games, Sunday family walks, birthday cakes, bruised knees, and the memory of a day long ago when I said goodbye to this forever. All those days, months and years I had tried to recall every stone, every voice, thinking I would never see them again as they used to be. For one fearful moment, I imagine no one is waiting for me. We are back at the family house. The 3 golden keys fit into the 3 rusty padlocks. The door slowly squeaks open. My cat rushes in. I open the door wide. I hear my mother's voice.
Peter, wash your hands. It's time for dinner.
I hear voices in the streets. Everything comes alive.